Clara slipped out of the house as the first hint of dawn kissed the sky. The air was crisp, filled with the promise of a new beginning. She moved quietly, her heart pounding in her chest, each step taking her further from the life she had known. She carried a small bag filled with art supplies and a heart full of uncertainty. This was it. This was her escape. The bag was light, but it held her dreams, her hopes, and the tools she needed to create a new life. Every brush and pencil was a symbol of her desire to paint a different future.
"This is it, my escape," she whispered to herself, feeling a mix of fear and excitement. The words felt heavy, yet liberating, as if saying them out loud made her resolve stronger.
At the edge of town, a figure stood beside a beat-up truck. The vehicle was old, but it represented freedom, a way out of the confines of her past. It was Lucas, his face illuminated by the rising sun. He'd always been there for her, a constant in her life of uncertainties. He was her ticket to freedom, her co-conspirator in this adventure. Together, they had planned this escape meticulously, every detail considered, every risk weighed.
"Ready for this, Clara?" Lucas asked, his voice steady, filled with a quiet confidence that reassured her.
"More than ever," she replied, her eyes reflecting a newfound determination. This was her moment, and she was ready to seize it.
As they drove away, the sun broke free from the horizon. The road ahead was long and uncertain, but it was theirs to travel. It felt symbolic, a new dawn for Clara. The light of the new day filled her with hope, a sense of possibility that she had never felt before. It was exhilarating and terrifying all at once. The unknown loomed large, but so did the promise of a fresh start. Clara was leaving behind everything she knew. The familiar sights of her hometown faded in the rearview mirror, replaced by the vast expanse of the open road. She was stepping into the unknown. Each mile they covered was a step away from her past and a step towards a future she was yet to define. But as she looked at the sunrise, she felt a glimmer of hope. The light seemed to whisper promises of new opportunities, of a life where she could be truly herself. Maybe, just maybe, this journey would lead her to herself. The road ahead was uncertain, but it was filled with potential, and for the first time in a long time, Clara felt ready to embrace it. The world outside Clara's window was a blur of colour and motion. The vibrant hues of the city slowly gave way to the muted tones of the countryside. Each passing mile put more distance between her old life and the uncertain future. The cityscape, with its towering buildings and bustling streets, faded into the background, replaced by vast fields and open skies. But with each mile, a sense of relief washed over Clara. The further they drove, the more she felt the tension of her past life dissolve. The weight on her chest seemed to lessen. It was as if the open road was absorbing her worries, leaving her feeling lighter and more at ease.
"I feel lighter. It's like I can finally breathe again."
The road was bumpy. Their old truck rattled, but Clara felt strangely at peace. The rhythmic clatter of the truck's wheels was almost soothing, a reminder of the journey they were on. She began to see the world with fresh eyes. Rolling hills became canvases, trees became dancing figures. Every turn revealed a new masterpiece waiting to be captured. She had to capture it all. The beauty of the world around her was too profound to ignore.
"Need to stop for a bit, maybe stretch our legs. Found a perfect spot up ahead. It's got a great view."
Lucas would find them secluded spots off the beaten path, places where they could be alone with their thoughts and the beauty of nature. There, Clara would sit for hours, her charcoal dancing across the page. She found solace in the act of creation, in translating the world around her into art. She wasn't just drawing landscapes, she was pouring her soul onto the paper. Each stroke was a release, a way to express the emotions she couldn't put into words. With each stroke, she felt lighter, freer. The act of drawing was therapeutic, a way to cleanse her spirit.
This is what I've been searching for. This is what freedom feels like. The open road, the endless possibilities, the sense of adventure. It was all she had ever wanted.
They slept under a canopy of stars, feeling the gentle embrace of the universe around them. The vastness of the night sky both humbling and comforting, a reminder of how small yet significant they were in the grand scheme of things. They would cook simple meals over a crackling fire, the aroma of the food mingling with the fresh night air, the flames reflecting in their eyes, casting a warm glow on their faces, creating a sense of unity and togetherness. As the embers died down, they would share stories, tales of past adventures and dreams of future escapades. They would talk about their dreams, the aspirations that kept them going, and the fears that held them back, their hopes intertwined with the night, creating a tapestry of shared emotions and unspoken bonds.
What's on your mind, Clara? You seem lost in thought.
Everything and nothing. It's like the universe is speaking to me and I'm trying to understand its language. It's overwhelming and beautiful, like a symphony of stars playing just for us.
Lucas, with his quiet strength and kind eyes, became Clara's confidant. He listened without judgment, offering a safe space for her thoughts. He encouraged her to listen to her heart, to follow the whispers of her soul. He became her rock, her anchor in the storm of emotions that raged within her, providing stability and comfort. There was an undeniable sense of adventure in the air, a feeling that anything was possible under the vast sky. They were free spirits, chasing sunsets and chasing themselves, finding pieces of their souls in every horizon.
Remember, Clara, it's your journey, your story. Every star in the sky is a chapter waiting to be written.
Days melted into weeks. The open road became Clara's therapy, the ever-changing scenery a reflection of her own internal landscape. She started to understand herself better. The things that had once seemed so important, societal expectations, her family's plans for her life, now seemed insignificant.
I see it now. What truly matters?
Clara realized that true happiness didn't lie in fulfilling other people's expectations. It lay in following her own path, however uncertain it might be. She found joy in the simplest of things: a beautiful sunset, a shared meal, a heartfelt conversation. She was finally living for herself, and it was exhilarating.
This is my life, my happiness, and it's beautiful.
But even as Clara embraced her newfound freedom, a shadow of guilt began to creep in. She thought about her parents, their worried faces etched in her memory. They didn't understand her need to break free, to find her own way.
What if I'm being selfish?
She asked, her voice trembling. Lucas listened patiently, his gaze steady and reassuring.
Following your heart is never selfish, Clara. It's about honoring who you are.
His words were a balm to her soul, but the doubt lingered. The thought of returning home filled Clara with a mix of dread and longing. She missed her family, the familiar comfort of their love, but she was terrified of being pulled back into the life she'd so desperately wanted to escape. She knew she couldn't keep running forever. She had to face her fears, her family, her past.
One morning she made a decision. It was time to go home. She wasn't the same Clara who had left all those weeks ago. She had found her voice, her strength, her passion. She was ready to face whatever awaited her.
The drive back was filled with anticipation. Clara's hands trembled as she gripped the steering wheel. Lucas had stayed behind, respecting her need to face this alone. As she pulled up to her childhood home, a wave of emotion washed over her. Her parents were waiting on the porch, their faces etched with a mixture of relief and apprehension.
The moment she stepped out of the truck, her mother rushed towards her. They embraced, a long, silent hug that spoke volumes.
Her father joined them, his eyes filled with tears. In that moment, all the anger, the resentment, the hurt seemed to melt away. There was only love. They sat around the familiar kitchen table, sharing stories, tears, and laughter. Clara told them about her journey, about the freedom she had found, about the passion that now burned within her. Her parents listened intently, their expressions shifting from confusion to understanding.
It was a difficult conversation, their words sometimes stumbling over unspoken emotions. Clara's parents had always wanted what they thought was best for her. They struggled to understand why she had felt the need to leave, to defy their expectations.
But as Clara spoke about her art, about the way it made her feel truly alive, a shift occurred. Her father finally saw the spark in her eyes, the passion that had been missing for so long. Her mother reached for her hand, squeezing it gently.
"We just want you to be happy, sweetheart," her mother said softly.
And in that moment, Clara knew that they finally understood. They might not have agreed with her choices, but they accepted them. They accepted her. Even Thomas, her childhood sweetheart, and the man her parents had always envisioned her marrying, surprised her. He came to visit a few days later, his demeanor kind and understanding.
He told her that he admired her courage and her determination to follow her own path. He wished her nothing but happiness.
With her family's support, Clara felt empowered to pursue her art. She rented a small studio in town, her canvases filled with the landscapes that told the story of her journey. She was planning her first gallery exhibit, her heart overflowing with gratitude and excitement. Clara had finally found her place in the world, a place where she could be true to herself, a place where her soul could sing.
Clara lived in Eldridge. It was a small town with little opportunity. Clara dreamt of more. She longed for adventure. Eldridge felt limiting and suffocating to her spirit. Clara spent her days yearning for a life less ordinary. Clara would escape into her imagination, wandering in the nearby meadows. There, she felt most free. The meadows offered a sense of peace, a stark contrast to her constricted life. Clara knew she couldn't stay in Eldridge forever. She wouldn't let it break her. Word spread through Eldridge. Thomas, a wealthy landowner's son, sought a wife. Clara's parents were overjoyed. They saw it as a perfect match. Clara felt a chill. It wasn't excitement, it was fear. Thomas was a stranger, and she felt trapped. Her heart ached for something different. She wanted love. She wanted choice. Clara felt a growing despair. She couldn't fathom a life with Thomas. Clara knew she had to act. She had to fight for her dreams. This marriage felt like a cage, and she wouldn't let it imprison her. Clara found solace in art. She painted her emotions, her canvases filled with vibrant colors, full of life, unlike her current reality. Each stroke was a rebellion, a silent scream for freedom. Her art was her voice, her escape. Her parents disapproved of her art, seeing it as a frivolous hobby. They wanted her to focus on becoming a wife. Clara refused to be silenced. She hid her paintings. They were her secret treasures. They represented her hope. Her dreams wouldn't be silenced. Clara's mother pleaded with her. She spoke of security and Thomas's wealth. Clara saw the fear in her mother's eyes, the fear of societal judgment and their small town's whispers. Clara understood that fear. She felt it too. But a different fear consumed Clara. It was the fear of a life unlived, the fear of dying with her dreams still inside her. Clara knew she had to be brave. She had to speak her truth, even if it broke her mother's heart. It was the only way to save her own. Section 5, the weight of tradition. Clara's father spoke of tradition. He spoke of duty. He spoke of what people would say. Clara felt suffocated. She loved her parents, but she couldn't be their puppet. She had to live her own life. Clara wanted their blessing, but she was willing to live without it. Her happiness was paramount. She wouldn't sacrifice it for anything. Clara's resolve grew stronger. She was ready to fight. She was ready to choose herself, even if it meant standing alone. Section 6, a glimmer of hope, the traveling circus. One day, a traveling circus arrived. It brought with it an air of excitement. Eldridge felt alive for the first time. Clara felt a flicker of hope. The circus represented freedom. It was everything Eldridge was not. Clara was mesmerized. She felt drawn to its magic. She snuck away from her chores. She spent hours watching the performers. They were fearless. They were free. Clara longed to be like them. She craved their life on the open road. The circus became her symbol of hope. Section 7, a forbidden friendship. Clara met a young man at the circus. His name was Marco. He was a tightrope walker. He was kind and full of life. Marco listened to Clara's dreams. He didn't scoff, he encouraged them. For the first time, Clara felt seen. Their friendship was forbidden. They both knew it. but they found solace in each other's company. Marco represented the world outside Eldridge. He was a breath of fresh air. Their friendship, though brief, ignited Clara's spirit. Section 8. A daring plan takes shape. Marco shared his stories. He spoke of distant lands. He spoke of endless opportunities. Clara's heart ached. She couldn't ignore her longing any longer. She had to escape. Marco offered a solution. He would help her join the circus. He would teach her the ropes. It was a risky plan. But Clara was desperate. For the first time, escape felt possible. Clara clung to this hope. It was a lifeline. Section 9. Clara's farewell. The night before her wedding, Clara packed a bag. She left a note for her parents. It was a tearful goodbye. She didn't want to hurt them, but she couldn't live a lie. She snuck out of her window. It was the first step towards her freedom. The night was dark, but Clara's heart was full of light. She was free. She met Marco at the edge of town. They disappeared into the night. The circus awaited. Section 10. Finding her voice on the open road. Life with the circus was challenging. It was exhilarating. Clara learned the art of tightrope walking. She discovered a strength she never knew she possessed. She faced her fears head-on. She embraced the unknown. Clara blossomed. She was no longer the timid girl from Eldridge. She was a performer. She was an artist. She was free. Clara found her voice on the open road. She was finally living her truth. Section 11. A future painted with freedom. Years later, Clara was a star. She traveled the world. She had found love. It was a love built on respect and shared dreams. She had defied societal expectations. She had chosen her own path. Clara was an inspiration. She proved that dreams are worth fighting for.